Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear viewers. I'm here with Tamkin Riaz, and we're going to do a really short interview with Tamkin, and we're going to find out who is Tamkin Riaz. So please introduce yourself, Tamkin.
Thank you very much, Sammy, for giving me the opportunity. I was born in Pakistan many, many years ago, and at the age of 4, my parents came to this country. They were diplomats, so we came through that route. And so all my education from nursery, primary, secondary, colleges, universities, all been in the UK. So I've been in the UK for approximately 60 years. And I have been working in the education field since 1980s. So I've got about 40 years experience in education. And when I say education, I'm talking about, I started off at Kingston Poly, Middlesex Poly, I worked at colleges, I worked in CCCs. Currently, in the last 5-6 years, I've been working in colleges in and around the London area, and at the moment, for the last 2.5 years, I'm at Croydon College. And something that I've been doing for the last 5 years, I'm doing special needs education. So I'm helping special needs students aged 16 upwards at college in Croydon. So I enjoy that, and I also do online as well. I do online and help foreign students online from different countries to do conversational English. So how to speak, how to ask questions. So I'm helping students on that. And I give them the first lesson for free, so they can see if they want to carry on. And then after I charge them. So that's something I do online, and I do online education. As you know, Sammy, we've done a lot of TV and radio together, and we've done a lot of charity work. So I got into the charity field in 2000s. So about 23 years I've been doing a lot of charity work. I'm part of the Muslim Association of Croydon, which I joined many years ago. And from there, we created a charity called GHRF, Global Humanitarian Relief Foundation, ghrf.org.uk. And we're doing a lot of charity work. So I'm in education, doing charity work, TV and radio. I've had a few things published as well, so I'm a published author as well.
And what sort of stuff did you?
I've talked about business and networking, so
Okay.
I'll give you those. Also, I'm featured in a book which is the 12 most prominent Pakistanis in the UK.
MashaAllah.
That was a few years ago. So
And that's that in Urdu or in English?
The book is in Urdu, but my section is in English.
Okay.
I'll show you that, Sammy.
Yeah.
And so it had people like high commissioners and millionaire businessmen, and then little old me in it.
Okay.
They picked it up from somewhere. And because obviously being on television and radio and media, I'm on social media as well. You can Google me, you can see videos and things that I've done, and the TV programs. So in a nutshell, that's who I am. And thank you for asking.
Okay.
Now, having said that, may I interview you, Sammy?
Ask me anything you want.
So that's a little bit about who is Tamkin Riaz, as I perceive it. Our people may perceive it differently.
Yeah.
So Sammy, how do you perceive yourself? Who is Sammy Hegab?
Humble. I'm a very simple human being. I like to be considered just nothing more than a servant of Allah. I was actually born in Egypt, but I was very close to being born in London. And it was actually my mother. She went to Egypt on holiday, a short period, and she stayed slightly a bit longer, and that's when she gave birth to me.
Oh, I was you going to be
while I was in Egypt. So I am Egyptian. I am British at the same time. But I am from a mixed heritage side. My grandmother from my father's side is Scottish. My grandfather, he grew up in the UK. That's when he met my grandmother, and then eventually he relocated back to Egypt. He was an engineer. He was working for Rolls-Royce at the time. And so that's, my father was born in Egypt. So I have a mix of European and of course Egyptian, and his great grandfathers, back his ancestors, actually originated from Quraysh, from Mecca. So I have family, Hegab family, are actually in Mecca. So when I went to Hajj, I was surprised. I met someone with Hegab, and there was another Hegab. Like, what's going on here? They're all Saudis, and they told me they're a part of, we're from the same family. So I have lineage going back to Quraysh, from Mecca, and also Scotland. And then from my mother's side, they migrated from North Africa. I have Albanian, Greeks, Turkish, and we have a family in Tunis as well, Morocco, Algeria. So from North Africa, they migrated across, and then as they migrated, they settled in Egypt as well. So I have mix, and obviously
Yes.
a bit of a Jew as well.
Yes,
I told
we
you.
all
We
we are
have
cousins. We are
mix,
Abrahamic religions.
Yeah, we're mixed, and that also proves something, that we all originate from the same. If we take a genetics of anyone, you'll find all connections to different parts of the world, and we're all connected in some way. And I was actually surprised because when I did the genetics test, it connects you with relatives, and have like second cousins and third cousins and fourth cousins in Brazil, and there was 0.1% Chinese, and it's very interesting. It's all mixed. I don't know how accurate it is, but they give you a percentage of different ethnicities. So yeah, that's from that side of things. I have mixed culture, mixed thing, but obviously we still consider ourselves as from Egypt, although we have
British Egyptian.
British Egyptians, and yeah, so that's that side of things. But then from growing up, I grew up in London, and then eventually I actually went to college in Croydon.
That's right. Where at? Croydon College.
Croydon College. So I did attend Croydon College for a short period when I was doing A levels, and then I moved by myself to Scotland. I wanted to discover some of my family, relatives, and that kind of stuff. So
you did a lot of degrees as well.
Yeah, so I moved back to Scotland. I did most of my degrees in Scotland, in Aberdeen. I wasn't, because I have to make it clear to the viewers as well, it wasn't like a smooth journey, or I wasn't really smart to complete. So I actually dropped off. I attempted to study a course, and I dropped off the course, and then I said, "Oh, education isn't for me," and I started again. I said, "I still need qualifications. I can't really do any other job other than doing sales or call center work and that kind of stuff." And I went back to university, and I pursued education again until I found my passion. My passion is in finance, in economics, in technology. And when I started studying the subjects that I'm really passionate about, I'm interested to learn. I'm not just trying to study just to get a job. That's where I, basically flourished and succeeded. And then I started taking more and more courses on. And in fact, I started doing master degrees while I was working full time in the banking sector. And I did about 10 years of banking experience working in different banks as a consultant. And eventually I started my own consultancy business because it was the easiest kind of business to get into. You already have experience in the field.
It's your hobby, it's your passion, you understand it, you're qualified in it as well.
Yeah.
People know you in the business.
Exactly,
in the sector.
It was, I was being approached to do contracts, and that's how I got into consultancy. As a business, and I set up my company in the Isle of Man. But I have to make it clear, this doesn't make me a real entrepreneur. A real entrepreneur is when you can actually walk away from your business. You're not trading your time for money, because you're still an employee, you're still working for someone else. So my dream is to build Umacom, which is what I'm wearing here. I have a big vision with a platform, trading platform based on the principles of the Sharia and Islamic economics. So I'm working on my PhD at the moment, which kind of bridges between Islamic economics, technology, as well as cybersecurity.
So you're still studying?
I am still studying. I'm constantly studying. I haven't stopped studying ever. I'm always doing something. Either it's an online course, or I'm doing an academic qualification of some sort, part-time most of the time. And now I'm currently working on my PhD as well.
Oh, mashallah.
So I'm constantly.
So Dr. Sammy Hegab.
Oh, I don't want. I mean, there's a lot of people.
And then maybe professor, maybe you can teach as well. When you've got different incomes coming,
I love.
By my nature, on your knowledge. Pass on your knowledge.
Absolutely.
I'm
all for that, and that's what's actually driving me to study. Because the more I study, the more courses I do, the more I realize I actually know nothing. I know 0.0001%, and I realize it's a really big ocean. And I would love to study also in Islam as well. One time I approached Al Azhar. I went to Egypt to enroll in Azhar, and they offered scholarships for foreigners. People start from absolute beginners and they just work their way up. Teaching Arabic language and stuff like that. So I did get offered something to study in Al Azhar, and I was interested, but convincing my family at the time was kind of difficult. Where's the money?
How are you going to survive?
How are you going to survive? Stuff.
Islam.
And it's not something to do with business or make an income or get a job. It's not for that. I wasn't doing it for that. I'm interested to learn for myself to become a better Muslim. So yes, one of my dreams is either to go to Medina or go to Egypt and spend some time and study Islam, academically, and learn more about the religion, because I feel that's important. And like I said before, I mean, we are all created for one purpose. In the Quran it tells us, created the jinn kind and mankind to worship me, worship Allah, and that we worship Allah by providing service, providing benefit to mankind, not just the Muslims. In the Quran it tells us, you save a life, or is it the Hadith that you save a life as if you save
the whole of humanity.
Whole of humanity. It doesn't say if you save a Muslim,
no,
or you save your family, or you save your brother or sister, any human beings. In fact, showing kindness to animals, looking after the environment, that's serving Allah as well. So we are here for a purpose, and I want to, be considered as and every action that I do can be counted as an action for Allah and to be rewarded. I hope no one knows if it's accepted. We pray, we fast, but we don't know if this action is accepted. We only do it, and success and acceptance is only from Allah.
Yeah, on that, I'm not a scholar, but on that, my understanding is, if you are Muslim and you do the basics, eventually you will attain paradise.
Inshallah.
Yeah. And everyone, all Muslims, but at different degrees and different levels.
Absolutely.
But we will be punished for our bad,
yes,
we have done.
Yes.
But eventually, due to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
yes, intercession,
we will all eventually go. So that is something really, really interesting. But try and do your best.
Exactly. Yeah. You do your best and leave the rest to Allah
and the Prophet Muhammad.
That's it. Yeah, I'm just sharing the nature, what's in my heart. I have this love for Allah, and at the same time, I have fear. I have this fear that Allah will punish me. Allah may.
No, I think we'll all be punished.
That kind of stuff. So it's that balance that I have in my heart.
We all be punished to certain degrees, but we'll all eventually get into paradise. So I think that's what we have to remember.
Yeah, and this comes back to the point. I mean, you asked me to introduce myself, and this comes to the point why I'm actually doing this channel. I decided that at some point, it was actually a couple of years ago, where I said, okay, I don't really need. Alhamdulillah, I've got enough money coming in. I can cover my expenses. I don't have millions and millions of pounds, whatever, and I don't have that desire for materialistic things. So as long as I can cover my basic bills, I can, get my food and.
Well, you do a lot of charity work. I know you give a lot to charity.
So I decided, okay, the rest, whatever I make, is really for others that may not have the opportunity, like refugees, the people that are forgotten. People that just say, oh, just turn off the channel, when you see something negative, what's happening in Palestine, whatever, you feel like you want something to relax after work and that stuff. But for me, I want to know what's going on. I want to see how I can serve these people, because these people, they are the forgotten people, in my opinion. They don't have an opportunity to education. They don't have an opportunity for food or clean water or anything like that. And not just the Palestinians, I mean all over the world.
Disasters, floods,
Pakistan, Afghanistan,
famine, tsunamis, earthquakes, all sorts.
So we need to work towards saving these people, and I really appreciate and admire what you guys are doing, your charity as well, because we all need to do something. We need to play a role. We need to be thinking constantly about those people. I mean, I've got an opportunity for education. I can go to university. I've studied a bit and whatever, but they don't have that opportunity. I can go if I wanted to look for a job, I can go look for a job, but they have nowhere to go. You know, and a lot of these people are in refugee camps or in some sort of a detention, or they're boarded, you know, in some
it's
sort
all
of a
around the
concentration.
world, and
Absolutely.
we will try and help what we can.
Yeah.
We have to. I won't say pick and choose, but at certain times we only have limited funds.
Exactly.
And so we have to be careful where we put those limited funds.
And it comes down to what you said. You know, if we save one life, it's as if if we can save one life, you know, that's an achievement in our lifetime. I mean, if every single Muslim on the planet, there's what, 2 billion Muslims,
2.5 billion.
even 2.5 billion. Even if we said there's only just 2 billion, and if 2 billion Muslims out there, and they just focus on just each individual says, okay, I'm just going to serve one person, save one person, help one person, and that's it. We can save another 2 billion now, 2 billion people out there. So that's the way I see it, and I draw inspiration from everywhere. You know, I watched this thing to do with SAS, you know, special, you know, who dares win. And there's one thing that really caught my attention and really inspired me was one of the officers. He said, "Look, we don't choose the best, or the winner doesn't. It's not usually the strongest or the best in fitness and that kind of stuff. The people that survive this training are the people that are in there to serve their brothers. They serve
to each
other, and it's always that team player. That's the person that perseveres, and it's trying. What they do is they have this motto where you try to protect the person on your right and the person on your left. So you're not focusing on defending yourself. So when you're in a battle, you're not thinking about, okay, there's the enemy, he's pointing the gun at me, and I have to protect myself, I have to save my life. You're actually trying to save the person on the right. You're seeing who's trying to attack your brother on the right. You defend him, and you defend the person on your left, and each of them are basically sacrificing their life to protect the other person.
Well,
and
it's
that's
like
how they
Islam,
become strong,
isn't it? Where they say, look at your neighbours.
Yeah.
40 houses to the left, 40 houses to the right,
yeah.
40 houses in front, 40 houses behind you.
Yeah.
If everyone was to do that, to look after their neighbours,
yeah.
then there would be much, much less poverty in the world.
Exactly.
So this is, an Islamic theme, isn't it, really?
Absolutely.
And to look after family and your neighbours have more rights as well.
Yes. Correct.
So if everyone to follow that sort of thing, basic thing, then of course there'll be much, much less distress for everyone.
Yeah.
And you'll be helping the less fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I absolutely agree, and I drew my inspiration from Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. I don't know if you heard.
Yes.
He's one of the great Khalifas, and he completely eradicated poverty when he was in power. He only stayed for like 2.5 years before he got assassinated. Everyone seems to try to do anything good that gets killed at the end.
People trying to make money.
Yeah.
So if you look at anything, follow the money.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, because he took from the rich and he created equal distribution of wealth, and that period of time, people are not aware of this. Non-Muslims are not aware of this, where Muslims were actually contributing the zakat to the poor people in Europe.
Yes, Umar's law. You know, heard of Umar's law?
Yeah.
In Scandinavia, they actually got that to help benefit the whole
Ireland
community.
as well.
And in Ireland, Umar's law. Okay.
Yeah.
I know they do it in Scandinavian countries.
Yeah.
And also, where the Crusaders who went on the Crusades, I don't know if you know this, I found out very recently, if they died, they would lose all their property and land back home. And when the Muslims found out, they said, well, why don't you put it in waqf, in a trust? So if anything happens to you, your land and your property will then be inherited by your dependents.
Yeah.
And that's how trusts came about in the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
There you are.
Yeah. I mean, the social benefit system is all from Islam.
Absolutely.
When it's not even implemented in so-called Islamic countries.
Yes. But that's where it started from, to equal. Everyone is equal.
Mm-hmm. So what's it like in Pakistan?
Well, I haven't been to Pakistan pre-COVID. At the moment, there's some political turmoil at the moment, but they're all settled down. But Pakistan is a beautiful country. For right up from the north, you have glaciers and mountains and skiing. The highest polo, the highest polo grounds are there. The highest roads in the world are there. That's in the north.
Mm.
And then the people up there, of 6 months of the year, are stranded with snow. So they eat very healthily and they live very long.
Mm.
And then you come slowly down to the basin of the Punjab, where the 5 rivers meet, and that's a breadbasket for the whole country, and they supply it around the world. All the way down to Karachi with deserts and Sindh, and then you have the sea. So you have all the weathers in Pakistan.
Mm.
Lots of beauty, lots of natural resources. And of course, natural resources have to be used wisely.
Mm.
But as you know, they're not used wisely and long term. You know, 225 million people in Pakistan,
Mm.
and another maybe 25 million or so around the world. So Pakistan also has the 5th largest army in the world, and their secret service outbeats the CIA. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There are more secret service people in Pakistan than the world, anywhere else in the world, beating the CIA. So you can imagine that. Biggest army, and they have a lot of other things as well, like producing wheat and milk and cotton. So there's a lot of potential in Pakistan. But obviously, governments and people have their own interests, and outside forces have their own interests.
Mm.
But otherwise, people say it's not safe. It is safe. You've got 225 million people there. You go to another country, they've only got 10 million people. Another country, 60 million people. Another country, 70 million people. When you look at the statistics, it's actually more safer than anywhere else. So yes, Pakistan is a beautiful place, and I hope to go back next year.
Inshallah, I hope to visit.
You
well.
come with me, Sammy. So I say I haven't been after COVID. I haven't been for 3 years, and there's nothing for me to do to go there. But now I need to go and sort out a few things, so I will be going back. Hopefully, inshallah, next year. And a few of my relatives and family and friends, I haven't seen them for a while. I know we have all this WhatsApp and video, and it's not the same, is it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you stay in touch, but I actually want to visit.
And business-wise, as a foreigner, have you been business
lots of business in Pakistan, lots and lots of business in Pakistan. The youth there are very, very, very intelligent, and most of the youths who have jobs do a second and third job as well, part-time.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, very entrepreneurial. And they're bilingual as well. So in Pakistan, you have the national language, and then you have the patriotic language, which is Urdu, and then you have the regional languages. So a lot of people in Pakistan are bilingual in many, many respects. I'm Punjabi, but I can speak Punjabi as well as Urdu, a little bit of Farsi as well, a tiny bit of Arabic, a little bit of Hindi as well. So I can get by. So language plays a very, very important part. And Pakistan is a beautiful, beautiful country. And so are the people.
Yeah.
And the same for Egypt. What are people there?
Well, Egypt has its challenges. I
And the same for Egypt. What are people there?
Well, Egypt has its challenges. I haven't been there recently, but it does upset me because they're also rich in natural resources. There is lots of mining and mineral and natural resources in Egypt. However, a lot of these mineral rights are given to foreign companies, not to local companies in Egypt. So exploration rights to gold or oil and gas and that kind of stuff, you have to be a foreign company to actually extract the resources. So there is a little bit of corruption. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are completely oppressed and depressed in the same way.
You can say the same for Britain as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Corruption at the top, you can see it, especially the Conservatives.
Yeah.
Not only, but obviously we have seen for so many years.
Yeah, I mean, Egypt has a lot of potential, just like in Pakistan and every country in Africa, all these African countries as well. They have huge potential because they have this natural wealth in land and also human resources, like you said, intelligence and stuff. There's lots of people in Egypt highly qualified, and unfortunately a lot of them that I speak to, they're either unemployed. I know a few people that have PhDs in computer science, for example, and they're struggling to get work, and they might get like an assistant teacher, or they might assist in some primary school and that kind of stuff, low income work. But yeah, they're not getting their rights. And I did interview someone when I went to Spain, an Egyptian that migrated to Spain, and he couldn't do anything while he was in Egypt, and he actually went first to Korea to study, and he got a job immediately, straight away, got a job, and then he was headhunted by a lot of European companies, and he's working for one of what top IT
Just
companies.
a break. Everyone needs a break.
Yeah, so he got basically headhunted straight away, immediately, for he's got a qualification, a bit of experience, and immediately he got a top end, high income job. And it's sad to say that he told me that he will never go back to Egypt. And I thought, if you studied and now have got this experience, maybe go back, set up a company. So, no, I'm not interested. Too much corruption, that kind of stuff. So the youth are kind of like turning away. It's the sad reality of things at the moment. But yeah, I'd love people in Egypt to start thinking about what they can do for their country, rather than because they're all expecting the country's going to do something for them. Yeah, the country's giving us our rights, and not corruption, that kind of stuff, and they're turning away and leaving the country as a way to live their life. But I'm always in that, my thoughts is always like, okay, what can you do for your country? Maybe you should go back and lead by example, create
What can you do for your neighbours, your friends, your family?
How can you serve others?
Serve others, yeah.
Yeah, that's my thinking. I mean, I did attempt. I have to be honest with you. I did attempt to set up a company in Egypt a few years back, and I found it very, very difficult. I couldn't do the very basic. It took me months. I couldn't even register the company because it's so complicated. It's not like in the UK where you can just go online and just register a company. You have to go for meetings. You have to freeze a large sum of money in the bank. So you put money in the bank, and the bank will actually freeze that money. You can't use it. It's completely ridiculous to open a business account, and then you have to go to so many different departments all over Egypt. So you have to collect stamps, basically. It's completely crazy. Like, you want to register a company, you go to some, like a patent office. They have to give you a stamp, and then you have to go to another office, get another stamp, and then go back again, get a stamp, and you got the first. So it's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tape.
Well, I can give you a solution, right?
You guys.
You join a company that's already created and done.
Yeah.
And then you take it over slowly.
Yes, yeah, that's another
way
solution. Yeah. Find a company that's already established.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly.
Why reinvent the stamps?
Yeah. Yeah.
There will be people there who will be selling their companies, or want a partner or something.
Yeah.
So there are different ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you start from scratch, it's much more difficult.
Yeah.
It's like in business. If you want to set up a business, why don't you buy a business already running?
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
They've already got the clientele and establishment, and where they're buying their products, and then you tweak it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
I won't charge you for this advice.
Warren Buffett done exactly that. I mean, he's always advising. There's a lot of these people out there.
Look at Virgin. Yeah. They all the things.
I mean, Warren Buffett. That's what he does. He looks at the company, looks at the cash flows, and he says, right, okay, there's a mum and dad business, and they want to retire.
Mm-hmm.
So he just offers him something below market value, and he buys it. And so yeah, definitely it's a way, but it's not. That's not the point of just buying an existing business in Egypt. I don't know what the case was. This was many years ago when I looked into this, but I can tell you there's a lot of corruption. I was offered
everywhere. Don't let a negative things distract you.
Yeah, absolutely. But there was all this, like briberies. That, when I was going to these offices trying to register a company, for example, I was like, okay, there's a way out. All you have to do is if you pay X amount of money in an envelope, it's not to the government or anything, to the individual. He'll collect all the stamps for you, and he'll just say, okay, here you go, it's all approved. So you can jump the queue, and you don't need to go through this whole journey and spend all that time.
And it's who you know.
So it's who you know as well as that. But I didn't want to go through that.
No, that's good.
I didn't want to go through it. I wanted to be legit. I want to follow Islam. I didn't want to go through briberies and that kind of stuff. Bribe anyone to or jump the queue. I wanted to be treated as if like I'm just a normal citizen. I don't have any contacts in the country. I'm not going to pay any extra than what's officially the rate to register a company. And unfortunately, I couldn't go very far at the time. I don't know what it's like now. I heard it's worse, but I don't know the fact because I haven't attempted to set up a company.
Well, you come to Pakistan and I'll come with you to Egypt. Although I have been to Egypt on holiday.
You're more than welcome.
So I've been to Tunisia, Egypt, Morocco, Saudi, UAE. I've been to a few countries, Cyprus, Turkey. I like Turkey.
Have you been to Turkey?
I've been to Turkey 3 or 4 times.
Whereabouts? Where?
We went to Istanbul.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been to Konya. I've also been to Marmaris, Pamukkale. Pamukkale is where the salt is.
Okay.
Mud baths, Ethos. Very, very historical. Very, very ancient land. And I've been about 3 or 4 times to Turkey, and I'm going to go again, inshallah, soon.
Was it just travelling, or was it part of the charity work? I know you do a lot of charity work.
We did some charity work as well, and exhibitions. And with my family, it was obviously holidays. And I enjoyed Konya very much, very religious experience in Konya. And Rumi, that's where he's from. I went to see Rumi's tomb and where he studied. And Konya is a very, very beautiful place. And the people are really, really lovely. And when you go to a country like Egypt or Pakistan or Turkey or any Muslim country, you don't have to worry about the food. Is it halal? Is it
100%?
halal?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But when you go to other countries, you've got to be mindful. But alhamdulillah, it's as halal as halal. Okay, it's possible in any country.
Real halal.
Yeah.
Not stunned and unstunned meat or anything like that.
Yeah, they don't know about stunned and unstunned. All they know is Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. They do it themselves. So that's. But I think Turkey is a really nice country, a nice place from for a few times I've been there as well. Somewhere that elderly people can go and live in if they want a bit of land and live naturally on a farm. Turkey has an immense amount of water and resources in Turkey, natural resources and water. And they get 2 or 3 crops a year on the same soil. The soil is very, very fertile as well. And I don't think they use as many chemicals as they do in the West. Quite a lot of natural things. It's a big country as well. Yeah. Every country has its problems.
Yes.
And, trying to govern all the different types of people, all the tribes. And there are obviously bits all over the world, but I like Turkey.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's kind of like a balance. It's not just the government.
Yes.
I'm saying also the people themselves. They need to change, because I think the way they see it, if the government's corrupt, then we'll become corrupt as well. It's a dog eats dog world, and I
it trickles down or trickles up.
Yeah, it trickles down, trickles up, and I totally agree with that. And unfortunately, that's the case because everyone that I speak to, and I tell them, do you know that this is haram or this is unacceptable, and you're taking advantage of this individual? It's not very Islamic. And they say, well, if I don't take advantage, he will take advantage of someone else,
and I will lose out,
and I'll lose out, and that kind of stuff.
You lose out momentarily, but in the afterlife.
Yeah. So it's real difficult to be a good person. It's difficult to be a Muslim, and live an ethical life in such a place. But unfortunately, someone has to change. You have to start with yourself. So I try to my best of my ability while I'm in Egypt. I try to follow the rules and serve others, even without any return. I'm not looking for them to compensate me or even thank me in any way, because I'm doing it for Allah, because that's my purpose in life, to serve Allah. So I serve others, help others, teach them, show them the way, and I'm not expecting anything. But unfortunately, when I need help, no one helps me for free.
No
one offers their help.
But you are able to give help.
If I'm able to, I just give it voluntarily. If I see someone that's lost, I try to guide them. But the other way around, I met an individual and had a problem with a certain issue in my computer, and he knew the solution, but he wouldn't help me. And I told him, look, can you just show me how to solve it? And he just didn't help me. He was another Egyptian. But when it came to his turn, when he had an issue, I rushed immediately. Do you need any help? What's the problem? Can I help you? And he said, yeah, I've got this problem. I said, okay, I'll do it. And
Was he embarrassed after that or not really?
well, I had a little conversation with him about this, because he kind of felt a bit embarrassed as well.
Yes.
There was a time when I needed help and he didn't help me, but he just told me this is the way it is. He said to me, I know your problems didn't live, and even the good people they come back.
Oh.
Yeah, that's his answer.
He's keeping their secrets together, so they need you.
Yes, they're needed, and they've got something to trade with. Yeah.
Great. Well, that was a lovely conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sammy.
Thank you very much as well, Tamkin. Yes, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, viewers. Well, that's another show.
Another show done.
Yeah, another show done.